Okay, Sairam, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Good morning and good evening for those who are from US and Canada. Thank you, everyone. I am delighted to welcome Dr. Vaishnavi, and she is the host, and you all to this webinar also. And we are particularly honored to have Dr. Vaishnavi joined us today. And Dr. Vaishnavi is a renowned expert in medical health webinars. She is from Malaysia. Her experience uh, extensively in Malaysia, many places they have shown webinars, and these webinars on mental health expertise. Dr. Vaishnavi's and Dr. Parthivan's, her husband, both are from Malaysia, and their insights are invaluable actually. And we are excited to learn from their knowledge. Thank you, Dr. Vaishnaviji, for being here and sharing your expertise. So, one more thing I want to just share. We also thank her husband, Dr. Parthivan, will be here again on 22nd June. So, thanks for accepting this invitation on different topic. He will be talking on different topic, but the area would be mind and health or spirituality. Thank you,
Okay.
sister. Transferring to you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. That was a very humbling introduction. And namaskaram and good morning to everyone. And good evening to those who are tuning in on the afternoon or evening side on the other part of the world. So as what Prabhuji mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking about gut-brain connection. So before we start, this is going to be an interactive session. So it will be great if you guys feel free to ask questions. I will be actually opening up a Q&A session towards the end of this sharing. If your questions are not pressing, if it can wait, you can keep it till the end. If you feel that you need to clarify during the talk, you can always stop me and I will address your question. So before we go further, I'm Dr. Vaishnavi from Malaysia, like what Prabhuji said. So we're going to talk about gut-brain connection. So what is the...
Yeah,
Okay?
I'm giving some hint that
Uh-huh.
here from different parts. So
Yeah.
some are, maybe if it, because in Malaysia and Singapore, we know we're so fast we're talking. So better, I mean, little bit different, slow.
Okay.
Maybe it's okay.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about the gut-brain connection. So what is the gut? The gut basically means our digestive system, which is our stomach, intestines, rectum. Okay, so that system is called the gut system. So brain, we know our brain is up there in our head. So what is the connection between these two? So that's why today we're going to look at the role of the gut health in our mental wellness. Okay, so so for those who do not know me, this is me. So since we don't have a video, this is what I look like. So I'm actually a medical doctor by profession. I graduated from Manipal, India. And these are some of the professional standings that I have right here in Malaysia. So I'm very honored to be given this opportunity to share this topic because this is actually one of the hot topics among a lot of our corporate clients. So I'm glad that I'm being able to share this with you guys today. So without a further ado, let's go into the topic. So these are roughly what we're going to be covering today. It'll be quite brief, but I'm pretty sure by the end of this talk, you will actually have a rough idea what you need to do or how to go about it. So let's start with part one. So part one is understanding the gut health. Okay, so as what I mentioned earlier, our gut is actually our stomach, our small intestines, large intestine, the rectum where the stool or the feces is collected, and anus is for defecation. So what is the gut health? Okay, we hear this a lot, especially on social media today. If you're looking at TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, they're selling all kind of supplements saying we need to, keep a good gut health. But what are we actually looking at? So gut health basically has microbiomes, which is actually bacteria. but it is made up of good bacteria and bad bacteria. Predominantly, it should be good bacteria because the good bacteria actually helps with the digestion of our food, improves absorption of nutrients from the intestines back into our system. So these are what all the good bacteria does. So the component of a gut health is probiotic, prebiotic, fibers, and gut flora. So what is this flora? Flora doesn't mean flowers. Flora means the bacteria. Okay. Right. So we were talking about the brain and our gut system. Okay. So what happens is there is something called the gut-brain axis. I will not bore you with medical details, but this is like the very basic that you need to know, which is called the gut-brain axis. So what actually happens is there is a two-way communication between our digestive system and our brain. Okay, so it consists of, like you see here, neurotransmitters, your vagus nerve, hormone, immune responses, all these things. Okay, so this bidirectional communication is like if you have not eaten anything from morning and then you'll be like, oh, I feel very hungry. So where do you think this hungry signal is coming from? From the brain. Okay, when you start eating, you eat, and then you feel like, oh, I'm really very full, I cannot eat anymore. Where do you think that signal is coming from? It's not from the stomach, it's actually from the brain. So our brain actually controls a lot of signals that is related to our stomach and intestines. Even when you feel like you need to go to toilet, or when you feel that you have bloating, you feel constipated, or even when you're having loose stools, all these signals are actually coming from the brain because our digestive system doesn't have it cannot connect, it cannot communicate directly to you without the help of the brain. Okay, so I assume we have understood this much. Is there everyone understood?
Yeah,
Uh,
little bit. Yeah, I think I'm okay. If
uh-huh.
others are, is it speed is okay for others?
Yeah, if you guys find it a bit too fast, I think I have slowed down quite a lot.
Correct.
Is everyone clear? Is there anything that you guys don't understand up to this point?
Is anybody have any problem? I mean, any information to give here? Yes, Chirag ji.
I think so far we're okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Okay.
you. Please continue,
And I was just giving a thumbs up. Thumbs up to say everything is
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, so
Yes, thank you.
basically these are like the boring details of the medical part of this. So we will quickly jump into the interesting part. Okay, so why did Prabhuji choose this topic today? Why we talking about gut health and then mental wellness, and how are we going to actually connect this to better spiritual experiences? Okay, a good gut health basically means everything is well in your digestive system. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say you are constipated for the last 3 days, okay? You're constipated, your stomach is aching, you feel bloated, you have no appetite to eat, and one day you happen to sit down to pray and God appears in front of you. What are you going to ask? Are you going to ask for moksha, nirvana, a truckload of money, or you just tell God, I have this very bad stomach, I just need to go to toilet? Correct? So because that will be the main pressing issue at that point in time. So if you are unwell, no matter how much you practice spiritually, you cannot pay attention because a physical ailment will overtake everything else. If you do not believe me, when you're not feeling well, try doing something else other than that. Let's say you are having a very bad headache and you're sitting down and you're trying to pray. Do you think you can concentrate in your prayers, or you will be more preoccupied with your headache?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, headache. It will go to the problem area first. Yeah.
Correct. So that is what will happen. So that's why we're saying that a good physical health will actually improve your mental wellness. Because medically, it has been proven that the lack of a lot of vitamin deficiencies actually proportionally affects our mood or our mental wellness. For example, a deficiency of zinc, magnesium, selenium, and B6 actually results in those who have depression, because they actually took a bunch of people with depression. They actually investigated them for vitamin deficiencies, and true enough, all these subjects actually have the same type of deficiencies, which is vitamin deficiencies. So why do we get vitamin deficiencies? Poor gut health, poor absorption from your intestines of good nutrients. So now, okay, now I believe now you guys can see like a connection of all these. So that is why we say that a good gut health actually affects your mental wellness. So when you have constipation, or we always underestimate the need to go to toilet and evacuate every day. That is how important it is. You know why? Because whenever you're constipated, all your stool stays in the large intestine. The longer it is there, the more difficult it is to come out. So what happens is physical symptoms will be like you feel bloated, you feel painful, you got no appetite to eat, and you feel sluggish. Number two, the cellular level of effects that it will have on you because of constipation is it will actually start reabsorbing all those toxins, means things that the body doesn't want and has already put it there for you to push it out. It will start getting reabsorbed into our system. Okay, so what happens is we have also noted a high level of mothers giving birth to children with autism. When we actually look back their daily habit, they actually had a habit of waking up late in the morning, which means they don't go to toilet early in the morning. That's why our Indians, especially those who practice Sanatan Dharma, we actually do this. The first duty of this body is when you wake up and to evacuate, means you pass urine, you pass stool, you clean up yourself, only then you sit down in prayer. You do not sit down in prayer without going to toilet, because you cannot pray with a full intestine that has not been evacuated. So the gut actually holds a lot of importance in our daily living and our well-being. Okay, so here we're actually talking about how yoga actually helps with gut health. So I'm not really sure how many of us here in today's sharing is actually an active yoga practitioner, but simple things in yoga, like if you know Malasana, where you actually sit down in your squatting position when you go to toilet, that itself is a yoga asana. So when you do that, it actually relieves the stress around your rectum and anus, and actually helps better motility of bowel, which means you can actually pass stool easily. So these are simple things that you can do to improve your bowel health. So this is how we say that, you know, a good bowel health, which means a good physical health, actually aids in good mental wellness, and in turn gives you a better spiritual experience, which means you can actually sit down and pray and concentrate better when your body is not giving you problems. Okay, so the impact of gut health on our mental wellness. So like I said just now, this gut microbiome is affected by both our diet and also mental health, including our personality, our mood, anxiety, and depression. Like what I told you earlier, depression and anxiety is largely contributed by a lack or deficiency of multiple types of vitamins. So there's actually a very strong relationship between the consumption of our fat, protein, that can actually lower anxiety and depression. And when you actually have a diet which is higher in carbohydrate, it actually is associated with increase in stress, anxiety, and depression. So for those of you who are vegetarians, I think you will actually have to look for options of food which is rich in healthy fat and protein. Actually, our plant-based diet or vegetarian diet, you can actually find a lot of food which is high in protein that you don't actually have to consume or depend on meat. But then again, our body needs or our caloric needs for a day really depends on our age and activity as well. So I'm not really sure what is the age group who's attending this sharing right now. So we'll get to this at the end of the sharing. You know, when you actually have questions that you want to ask, we will discuss about that. Okay. So a healthy diet is very important. So if we're talking about an elderly age group where they are above 55 or 60, a good diet is very important to maintain a healthy body. So most of the time, elderly people, especially here in Malaysia, that we can see even in Singapore, a lot of them do takeouts. Means they order, the food delivery app and things like that, fast food. These kind of things, all these kind of food are actually very high in carbohydrate, unhealthy fat, and a lot of sugar. So this kind of food, it's really going to havoc into your gut system. Okay, this will actually cause an imbalance in your gut bacteria. Okay, another thing that a lot of people don't realize is our tendency to ask for antibiotics every time we go and see the doctor. So when you're not well, you say, "Oh, doctor, I want antibiotic." Of course, if you take antibiotic, everything will get well in 2 days. But what actually happens to your gut health? The current trend now is a lot of parents actually want antibiotics for their children. You're basically ruining the gut health of the child from an age where they cannot decide anything for themselves. So when you persistently use antibiotics, when you use antibiotics for a certain short-term illness, that is okay because you're treating an illness. But if you make that a habit, every time you got cough, fever, cold, you go and ask doctor, oh, I want antibiotic. And in 1 month time, you actually get sick again and you go and ask the doctor, oh, I want antibiotic. So what happens is this is called an antibiotic abuse. You keep using antibiotic until to one point there is no good bacteria left in your intestines. That is when you realize you will actually end up with more illnesses. When we don't have good bacteria in our intestines, what actually happens? You have more inflammatory markers in your blood system. There is no good bacteria to actually absorb or facilitate the absorption of nutrients back into your body. And your gut actually starts leaking, means it starts leaking out protein and good electrolytes back into the stool or in your urine. So all these things will actually cause deficiencies in your body. So that's why the good bacteria is very important, because when there is an impaired digestion, you start putting on weight, you have bloating, you feel full faster, or whenever you eat, you have no appetite. So basically, the function of a good bacteria in the intestine is actually a lot more than we can actually comprehend, because the study is still going on benefits of good bacteria, to the extent that some research in the West has actually came to the extent that they're doing poop transplants, as in, taking stool from a healthy person to transplant into another person. So you can imagine the importance of good in your intestines. Okay. So the next is, okay, enhancing
Yeah.
gut. Okay, so
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we will have question and answer at the end, correct? Thank you.
yeah. So this is about enhancing gut health. Dietary recommendations. Okay, like what I told you earlier, we need more probiotics. Probiotics are food that actually encourages good bacteria in our intestines. So this means fermented food, especially for the people from the Indian counterparts. We actually take fermented food in the form of dahi, like your yogurt. And then, we have kanji, the one where you put beetroot, what is this? Ginger, cumin, and all these things, and you ferment it, and then you have it to drink. Or you take fermented rice, like a rice that you cooked, and then you put it in a pot of water, leave it overnight, and the next day you mix with yogurt and all these things, with salt, some green chili and all this. These are simple food that people have been preparing over a long period of time, but those are actually really rich fermented food that has a lot of good bacteria. So if you look at the Korean people, they take like kimchi, and then the Chinese people take all these pickled vegetables, fermented vegetables. These are all rich in good bacteria. What you should exclude or avoid: processed food. Processed food basically means all your fast food. Whatever that comes fast is actually taking your life away fast. You just remember that way. Fast food are never good food. Food that takes time to prepare with a lot of effort and love is actually good food. That is what you get when you prepare your own food at home. Mindfully prepared food. Okay. So lifestyle factor, other things that can actually affect your gut health or your mental wellness will be adequate sleep, stress management, and physical activity. I always stress this when I give talk to my older generation of audience, is physical activity. I cannot stress enough how important is physical activity, especially if you are above 50. Muscle mass is very important. If you want to be able to still walk around the house or carry your own weight, or even simple things like walking to the toilet and back to the hall, or to even be able to feed yourself, physical activity, staying active is very important because as we age, our muscle has to be strong. So start building muscles. Simple exercises. If you feel you're not fit to go to gym or do weights or whatever, you can still do yoga. Till now, the best form of physical exercise, regardless of age, is still yoga. If you look at some old videos of BKS Iyengar, he's been able to do really complex asanas even at the age of 68 and 72. So I feel that shouldn't be a deterring factor, as in age is not a deterring factor. And if you have not started, it is never too late. So I would be very happy if you guys can actually reach out to the nearest yoga center, not centers that are teaching you pseudo yogas, but the one that is actually teaching proper yoga. Please go and join, especially for the elderly age group. Trust me, you do not want to be dependent in your old age. So this is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Okay. And supplements. Okay, supplements, there are a lot of supplements in the market. But if you ask me, if you really cannot prepare your own food, which is rich in good bacteria, you can consider taking probiotics or prebiotics. So there's a lot in the market. So you can see whichever that suits your budget. And most important is compliance. You can't be taking once a week. It's something that should be taken daily. Depends on what type of supplements you're actually looking at. Okay. Okay, so these are just simple examples of what we were talking about, like fermented food. You see, like kimchi, like what I told you, these Korean people like to eat a lot of
Yes.
kimchi. Yeah, so and then tempeh. Tempeh is actually a fermented soybean. It's actually very famous in Indonesia, and we get it very easily here in Malaysia. Fibers like vegetables and fruits, and good fats like nuts and avocado. Actually, good fats you can find in a lot of even other lentils and nuts that we usually take. So for those who are actually vegetarian, it's good that if you can explore your options of good fats, because most of the time vegetarians are very susceptible to vitamin and nutrition deficiencies. So maybe you need to explore a bit more of different types of food compared to your usual menu. What you must exclude, I guess you hear this a lot, sugary drinks, processed food, but true enough, these are the things that is actually wreaking havoc into your system. So the best will be to avoid. I'm not saying cut down, I'm saying avoid, because in recent times it's just getting bad to worse. Processed food are becoming more notorious, and it's definitely not gut friendly. Okay. Okay, so pop quiz time. After all this talking, let's see if did all of you all listen to the talk or not. Okay, so food which is high in carbohydrate causes what? Happiness or stress and anxiety?
Stress and anxiety.
Very good. Okay, who was that just now? Rajeshwari, is it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good, Rajeshwari. Thank you. Okay, so number 2, food that lowers stress, not increase. Maybe food that increase stress and depression, or things that increase stress and depression, maybe your husband's. But this is food that lowers stress and depressions.
Fat and protein.
Yes, very good. Who was that?
Pratibha.
Pratibha. Very good, Pratibha. Okay, so number 3, gut-brain axis is a bi-directional communication, two-way communication of what? Kidney and stomach, or digestive system and brain?
Digestive system and brain.
Yes, wonderful, Shamla. Thank you. Okay, and number 4, which type of food we should include in our diet? Fast food and sugary items, or fermented food and fibers?
Fermented. Thank you.
Very good, Prabhuji. Okay, so very good. So now I know everybody actually listened and paid attention. Okay, so that's all for today. It was very nice, and thank you for being so interactive. So now I'm opening up the floor for questions. Do you guys have any questions?
Yes. Yeah.
I have one question.
Yes, madam.
So you were saying about probiotics and prebiotics. Can you explain
Correct.
the difference, please?
Okay, the difference between probiotics and prebiotics, it actually depends on your, how do I put it? Your needs, as in your daily food intake and your needs. So basically, think of prebiotic as healthy food for the bacteria in your gut. Okay, and that is actually things that we eat to actually feed the good bacteria. And probiotics basically means live active microorganism in the food. So a live, basically when you buy something, right? Okay, so when we're looking at say probiotic food, example, when you go to the supermarket, you know, when you buy like cultured milk, where it actually says has how many live cultures, that is actually probiotic. Okay. When we say prebiotic, it doesn't actually have like live cultures, but it actually has good bacteria, basically things that you get from your fermented food. Those are called prebiotic, means it is already preset with bacteria, means good bacteria. You can understand the difference?
Yeah. I mean, pre and pro. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes,
that
thank
is
you.
how it works. So sometimes we also have, like when you buy supplements, right, you actually find things like, you know, a certain number of bacteria, like, you know, when you have sachets, right, which actually sells like for pre and probiotics, inside there you will see that they have what Saccharomyces, whatever, all these things, all these bacteria, and then plus inulin. So inulin is actually a prebiotic, is the kind of things that you get when you ferment food, that is inulin. So these are actually soluble dietary, dietary fibers that is actually called prebiotic. It is also called, it's called inulin. Inulin is a prebiotic. So that's actually a key. When you're buying supplements for yourselves, which is actually probiotics, try to see if they have inulin. So which means the whatever supplement that you're buying consists of both pro and prebiotics. So your inulin is a prebiotic. So for example, I actually have one here, which is Lactobacillus rhamnosus. Okay, so this is actually like a bacterial powder. It's actually like a probiotic powder. So what it has is Lactobacillus rhamnosus. So this is a good bacteria. So what is that? That's a probiotic, correct? And then it has inulin. So inulin is a prebiotic. Okay, and then it's got some fructo-oligosaccharides. That's a bit of sugar there. So this is what usually your supplement for a probiotic actually has. Okay, so always make sure you look for inulin. So when you see the packet says contains prebiotic and probiotic. So your prebiotic is inulin and your probiotic is the lactobacillus bacteria.
Very good. Nice. Thank you very much.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else have
Thank you
any
very
questions,
much.
please? Anybody have any questions?
I do. Hello, Dr. Reddy.
Hi, Cyril.
Quick question. Sometimes when you go to all those medical stores, right? Sometimes they say that once you should have the prebiotics, which should be kept in the fridge all the time. And sometimes the same shop, somebody else will say, no, these are the one to be kept on a shelf. So which one is better? The one which is on the shelf, or doesn't matter?
Basically, it depends on the type of preparation, because if you're talking about something that can be kept in shelf, it is usually in the form of either dehydrated powders, tablets, or capsules. Those are the ones that you can actually keep in shelf. The ones that they will actually tell you to keep in the fridge will be actually live cultures. You know, like when you buy yogurt drinks, Vitagen,
Right.
Yakult, you know, this kind of stuff with live cultures. Those are the ones that they will actually advise you to keep in fridge.
Oh, sometimes they even advise us to keep capsules in the fridge.
That is not necessary, because capsules, usually whatever they have inside, even the thing is, if you want to have live culture bacteria, right, it is not possible to dehydrate them because it will die off.
Right.
Yeah, so usually
Right.
the capsules, it can actually stay out on the shelf. You don't have to put it in the fridge. Like what I told you, an easy way to remember is if you're buying something that contains live cultures, you have to put it in the fridge. If it is not live cultures, like if you're taking like things which are already dehydrated, like in powder form, tablets or capsules, you can actually keep them on the shelf.
On the shelf. Okay. And maybe out of syllabus question, but we can talk later on if you if we can't discuss about it right now. But we keep hearing a lot about intermittent fasting.
Okay.
And sometimes people say that don't eat for 14 hours, 16 hours. Will it have a positive impact on the gut health? Or sometimes I hear different views where people say, oh, if you don't eat for too long, then your body goes into starvation mode and you don't lose weight, and it produces a lot of acidity. So
Correct.
what's your view on it?
Okay, that's a very good question, but it's actually a really big discussion. Okay, talking about intermittent fasting, it's quite a fad when it first came, but intermittent fasting is not really a practice which is not like a one shoe fits all kind of thing. So you have to look at multiple things. So when my patients come to me, like I actually have to look at their medical history and other underlying comorbids to actually suggest what kind of a diet program will actually fit them. See, if you're going 14 hours without food, it also depends on your age. If you are above 50 and you're trying to do this, you have to be really physically fit. And in another way is 14 hours of fasting will also reduce your muscle mass, because not necessarily it's going to burn fats, because it depends on your metabolism. That's why I said this intermittent fasting, right? It actually depends on, it's a multifactorial thing. Because if you're really an active person with a high rate of metabolism, or somebody who is in a younger age group, chances are when you do intermittent fasting, there's a good chance that you're actually going to lose weight. But if you're in an older age group with a mostly sedentary lifestyle or a mild active lifestyle, intermittent fasting can actually do more harm than good to you. So there's actually other ways of dieting which will be more beneficial to you in terms of weight management and overall health, as compared to intermittent fasting. There's actually a lot, because I've seen in older age group with people losing muscle mass due to intermittent fasting. Because okay, a quick one, it's like this: if your metabolism is good, when you do intermittent fasting, your body actually burns out fat. But if your metabolism is not so great, because it is affected by age and our lifestyle, what happens is your body starts using up your muscle tissues instead of your fat. So what happens is this fasting will actually make you weaker, lose more muscle mass, and actually cause a lot of other problems instead of losing weight. You may see some amount of weight loss, you may see a bit of a weight loss, but you're actually not losing fat. You're probably losing muscle that is being reflected as weight loss. And we don't want that. In older age, we need more muscles.
Right.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy.
You're most welcome.
Good information, doctor. So anybody else have questions?
A question, doctor. Sorry.
Yes, Ajishwari.
Okay, actually, I've been consuming probiotics, but doctor told me to take live instead of the tablet form. But what effect? Is it faster absorption, or maybe why we need to take live more?
Live, actually, okay, that's like what I said, there must be a reason for your doctor to suggest live cultured intake for you. Because if you are someone who has been taking a lot of, if you have history of using long-term antibiotics, or if you have IBS, like irritable bowel syndrome, or things like that, probably they will suggest for you to take capsules. And then in cases where you don't have these kind of issues and your absorption is good, you might want to consider live cultures. Because I wouldn't say there's any much difference in terms of absorption. The only mild difference will be if you take capsules or tablets or probiotics. What happens is your body has to go through, whatever thing that you're taking in has to go through a first pass metabolism, which means it has to go through your stomach acid. The capsule has to be broken down. So means the bioavailability of the content is a bit lesser, because it's already, some of it has been partially digested by your stomach.
Okay.
So when you take a live attenuated culture, when you're ingesting it, right, usually liquid gets absorbed better than solid, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you take liquid form live cultured products, it actually goes into your intestine faster. So it doesn't stay in your stomach, it just slides down into your intestine, which actually improves the absorption. So
Okay.
like what I said, your need for probiotic and prebiotic really depends on your diet. If you're already incorporating a lot of probiotic rich food, like if you're the type of person who takes kanji, or if you take old rice with the yogurt and
Mhm.
stuff like this, then your need for a capsulated probiotic probably is lesser as compared to someone who doesn't have any of this in their diet.
So my concern is, let's say we are traveling and all that, we are not able to carry the live probiotics because
Correct.
we have to refrigerate it every time. But
Correct.
can we mix and take? Let's say if when I'm traveling, I can take the capsule. If let's say,
Yeah, if you're traveling, you can take capsule. Even better, I usually tell people, instead of taking capsule, you can buy the one that is in sachet, the powder form,
okay,
because that one you actually dilute in water and drink, so it becomes liquid.
oh, okay.
Because some of them actually have the sachet where, when once you add water, the probiotics actually gets activated after it's being rehydrated. So when you add water, you just mix it and you just drink.
Okay, doctor. Maybe I will try that. Thank you.
Yes. You're most welcome.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes, Shamla.
How bad are preservatives?
Sorry?
How bad are preservatives?
I didn't get you. How to add preservatives, is it?
Is it food?
How
You're talking about the food or
preservatives in food? How dangerous or how bad is it?
Oh, okay. This one, I think if you Google, you will get like a truckloads of readings on
yeah.
this. Preservatives, there are actually many types. So I think it really depends on what kind of food you're consuming, and then you look at what kind of preservatives are being used. That's why I said usually we don't encourage people to buy like frozen food, fast food. All these things have very high amount of preservatives, and they are known to be hormone disruptors, preservatives, because they actually
Yeah.
cause an hormone imbalance, especially in fertile reproductive age people, young men, young women, from 25 to 45. These preservatives actually cause a lot of hormonal disruption, which actually results in a high rate of infertility or people actually struggling to conceive. So
Yeah.
these are what preservatives do. So the best thing to do will be your own home prepared food is the best, because you don't need any preservatives for that. But if you're buying from outside, or if you buy packed food, especially, those are rich in preservatives.
Yeah, thank you. Doctor, okay, thank you, doctor. So, Shamla, you got it, the idea. So
Yes. Thank you
okay.
for your.
Can I request all participants for questions on the mind or health related to mind? Is there any especially specific in the questions, please? We have 5 more minutes.
I have one question, please.
Yes, Shanti.
So, usually, like in my case, I have this acid reflux, and it's really quite bothering. So I have to avoid certain food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how do I get over this thing?
Acid reflux is actually two things. Are you having gastritis or do you have GERD?
I don't know. It's just that it's like that comes and goes.
Okay, the symptom is a bit vague. If you're looking for a consultation, I think you might need to go and see a doctor, because I don't really know exactly what is your symptom like. But roughly is, if you're having GERD, which means like if you always have your acid coming back up, it can be because of your sphincter is being loose. If you're having gastritis symptoms, you sometimes have this acid reflux. So either way, I think it has to be like a food related thing, so you know which food to avoid. So that's usually how we go by for gastritis. But otherwise, if you can actually find a yoga center nearby to you, there are actually special practices for reducing the acid refluxes. So they'll
Yeah.
actually teach you certain pranayamas for that.
Oh, okay. Yes, the doctor did tell me about the splinter thing.
Yeah. So you actually can do certain breathing exercises, which actually helps to strengthen the sphincter at the end of your stomach, so that the acid doesn't get refluxed back up into your esophagus. So that is one of the practices. But reducing food, which can actually cause more acidity in the stomach, is one way that will help reduce the amount of refluxes.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sairam. Thank you very much for Shantiji and also Vaishnavi, Dr. Vaishnavi.
Most welcome, Babuji.
Anybody
Sairam,
have
I
a
just
quick
have
question?
one. Yes, yes. Dr. Vaishnavi, I just wanted to ask you, what's the relationship with spices? Like we Indians, we consume a lot of spices, right? Spices, gut health, and related to the brain as well.
Okay, if we go into spices discussion, it's like literally each spice actually has a function of its own. But generally, what we know is our Indian spices are very rich in the sense that it actually reduces the inflammatory markers in our body. Because right now, what we understand is most of the illnesses that we have, like that the current generation actually suffers from, like skin problem, like psoriasis, eczema, intestinal problem like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, all these things, and even gastritis for that matter. All these things are related to a very high level of inflammation in our body. So, which means our cortisols are high. So, the Indian spices that we use in our food actually works in that angle where it actually reduces the inflammatory markers in the body, calming down the system so that your body can actually heal or not even give place to these illnesses to come up in the first place. Because if we look at the demographic, because I'm actually a dermatologist as well, so I see a lot of chronic skin diseases. So it used to be like a demographic precedence in the sense that we see a lot of this skin problem in Chinese population and other races here, but not so much for the Indians, because to a certain extent an Indian household still practices, like home cooked food, and they still use all these Indian spices to cook. So you don't really see a lot of inflammatory skin diseases in Indian households as compared to the Chinese households. So when they did a study, it actually reflected very well in the kind of spices they actually use for cooking. The most common is your turmeric, pepper, cumin. These are like the super food in the spices category.
Yes.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, doctor. I just want to ask one question.
Should
we add protein powder to our daily diet?
Protein powder is actually quite a discussion because usually a lot of people are not really tolerable to protein powder because it can actually cause like acne, fulminants, and a lot of other issues. It basically depends on the brand of protein powder that you're using, because we have a lot of patients coming to us with issues secondary to prolonged protein powder use. So I think you might want to be a bit judicious with that. So protein powder is also like what I said earlier about the intermittent fasting. It is not really a one shoe fits all kind of thing. So you really need to look at your caloric need for a day, and I'm sure there's other alternatives to improve your protein intake as compared to going for a protein powder. Actually, you can check online, like you can actually see what are the things that's actually added into your protein powder production, and nothing there is actually good for you. So the protein powder sometimes has been really a hoax that's been used into the industry.
Okay. Yeah, I think background something. Okay. Saira, okay, I believe everyone got their questions. Again, this webinar is continuous after every alternate, you know, alternate once in a fortnight or in 2 weeks. So next after 15 days, Brother Parthivan, right? Dr. Parthivan. Okay, he will be here. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Vaishnavi ji, for your time and also the knowledge which you have already shared to all our devotees. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Anybody else please want to join next week or not next week? After 2 weeks, you can join on 22nd of June, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Ma.
Yeah. So we are very blessed that she is spreading the knowledge on the mind and health related matter. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Prabhuji, and thank you
Yeah.
everyone for patiently listening. Hopefully we can meet again on another session and we can discuss further on this topic.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, Doctor and Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I will shut down. Thank you.